I'm Dr. Angela McKaye, chiropractor and naturopathic physician, and today I want to talk to you about seasonal affective disorder. So in the last video, we talked about how people are ending up with sleep phase issues and getting their days and nights mixed up and maybe having an irregular schedule. But today I want to talk about seasonal affective disorder, and that is technically really kind of the winter blues or experiencing depression more severely as the light changes and we're having less sunshine and longer nights and shorter days. I think the way to start out talking about this is that every single one of us is a light sensitive mammal. We all have a pathway in our brains where our eyes sense the light, and that signal gets relayed along the optic nerve, and then it goes through the geniculate nucleus, which is part of the brain, and then onto the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is another part of the brain. And that part of the brain has a big part to play in your sleep and wake cycle. So when you're seeing light, it does something in your brain. Now, you probably have heard this because people are talking about blue lights and screens and not being able to sleep. If you're watching TV or looking at the iPad or your phone or whatever too late at night, it's going to interfere with your sleep because those parts of the brain get triggered. But we all are sensitive to light. Our pineal gland, which is right here about where your third eye is in the brain, it also has some circadian rhythm influences and is also a light sensitive gland. So we are mammals, and as much as we've constructed this artificial world with artificial light and we can go 24 hours 7 days a week, that is not our normal state. Now, this has created a situation for all of us where in our culture we're expected to be productive because we have this artificial setting and this artificial light, and we should just be able to have a normal level of productivity that we have in the summer and have all this energy. But that's not the way it works. If you look at Chinese medicine, this darker time of the year is the yin time of the year, and the summer is the yang time of the year. Yang is all about expending that energy, getting out there, moving around, being warm, getting things done. And yin is the cooler, more introspective, reflective time of the year. And you need both halves to be whole, right? So a lot of people come in and they're like, gosh, I'm really tired. I want to go to bed at 9 o'clock. It feels like it's midnight at 9 o'clock. And yeah, that's your body's signaling system saying, yeah, it's time to go to sleep. I think it's really normal to maybe sleep a little bit more during this time. Now, when it comes to seasonal affective disorder, when we think of things as a spectrum, this is like the further end of the spectrum. This isn't just, I need a little bit extra sleep. It's more a sense of hopelessness, irritability, and even potentially suicidal thoughts. So if you're feeling really sad and gloomy and hopeless and it's interfering with your life, you want to take some steps to really address that. Now, historically, seasonal affective disorder has been seen with a high correlation with people who have bipolar disorder. And there are a lot of misconceptions about bipolar disorder, but it is possible to have a completely seasonal bipolar disorder where you feel really, really low in the winter months, and then you start getting more high or even to the point of mania in the springtime, like April-ish. And so all of us have that sort of biorhythm. For people who have a mood disorder like bipolar disorder, you may just be more sensitive to the light changes, and that can trigger this whole cascade. So it's important to recognize that and investigate that if that sounds familiar to you. So what I recommend for seasonal affective disorder is if you want to go to bed earlier, that's completely fine. You may find yourself foraging for food more because your body is going into hibernation mode. That's not unusual. You can be aware of it by making sure that you're eating regularly and getting enough food and not foraging and snacking throughout the day. And when you wake up in the morning, you want to wake up at the same time every day, and you want to open the curtains, open the blinds, get some natural light in. When you wake up, like we were talking about for the sleep phase disorder, sometimes 10,000 lux light boxes can be really helpful, and just sitting near an open window next to a light box, reading, journaling, starting your work day, something of that nature, first thing in the morning for 30 to 60 minutes. Then if the light box itself is not working, you don't feel like it's doing anything after 2 weeks of really consistent use, it may not be the thing for you. You may need to move on to other therapies, including pharmaceuticals or herbs or whatever meets your needs. Other things that can be really helpful for seasonal affective disorder are taking a walk at lunch lunchtime, so around the noon hour, getting out and being in nature and allowing some natural light to come in without sunglasses. So if you're walking around, you want to walk around as much of that time without sunglasses as possible. And exercise also, hands down, always beats any other intervention for any kind of depression. So getting out and getting moving can be really helpful. I did mention, but I think it's worth mentioning again, there is a gene that regulates your circadian rhythm and your sleep-wake cycles. So in that area where some people may be more sensitive to light, you may also have genes that predispose you to have a bigger problem or be more sensitive to seasonal changes, light changes, and your circadian rhythm may be thrown off more easily. Also, when you push yourself with artificial light for long periods of time, whether you're having an issue with bipolar disorder or whether you have no issues like that whatsoever, the longer you push yourself, the more your body starts to produce steroid hormones, including cortisol, which is a stress hormone. It also plays with your circadian rhythm and is part of your circadian rhythm. It has regular ups and downs throughout a natural cycle, and it starts pushing other steroid ring hormones like your sex hormones and into overdrive. So the more time you spend in artificial light, the worse that is for your being able to sleep normally, but also it can throw off your testosterone, your estrogen, your progesterone. It can exacerbate things like PCOS, and it can cause a situation where all those things are upregulated, and then you start to upregulate your thyroid hormone, and then it puts your body under a significant stress. So there are times where like you have the reserves, you can push through, you've got something that's got to happen. If you're a new parent, you know that sometimes you don't get to sleep when you want to. So you want to have those reserves and use those very sparingly, but really sleep as much as you can in a normal cycle for as much of the time as possible. If you have any questions, drop them in the box. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you soon.